Hi there! As you see, I try to keep my promises. So here's a brand new and hopefully useful video. Back when I was a student, I was always curious about what teaching looked like behind the stage, but I was too shy to ask. Now that I am a teacher, I'm ready to show you some behind the scenes and share with you some secrets. So buckle up. Today I will spill the beans on some essential things I can't imagine my teaching without. Yes, the first should be my students, but let's face it, teaching without students isn't really a teaching. So I would like to focus on less obvious things and share with you some interesting tools and routines that have become essential in my teaching life. The first thing on my list is lesson plan. Unfortunately or fortunately, I can't teach without planning in advance. Sometimes it is as simple as stick a note in the textbook where I just indicate the task order and the time. For Spanish classes, here's the lesson plan. There I need to write what exactly we will do with that activity or that task, how we will do it, individual, group work or pair work, and approximate time that I can dedicate to this stage. But my most detailed and structured lesson plan is for teaching English at Green Forest. I even created my own template, and I adore how colorful and structured it is. Of course, the more I teach, the less packed plans are. Most of the stages come naturally, so I don't write every single ICQ or transition anymore. Of course, if I have something interesting that works with one group, I can save it later for my future use. But there is one dream that I'm determined to fulfill no matter how scared I am. It's teaching a dogma lesson. This approach doesn't rely on any pre-planned worksheets or activities, and here the lesson plan is more of an outline. I really want to try it and work more with the emerged language during the lesson, so hopefully I'll get to ditch my perfectly colorful plan and start embracing something more spontaneous. And as I'm still on the fence about this dogma approach, the next thing I really rely on is textbooks and copies. Even when I create my own material, I should base it on some textbook. For example, for teaching English at the university, we use High Notes. For Spanish, I use Español en Marcha. For my individual classes, sometimes I opt for Speak Out, and for teaching English at Green Forest, we have Notes by Green Forest. But I need to tailor these activities from these mesmerizing textbooks to fit my students' needs. Therefore, I need some worksheets. And if for offline classes, it's obviously something printed, for online lessons, I need a better option, and I have found it. This is the website and the platform tool that I can't leave and teach without. It's Talking Cloud. You can here organize your teaching routine, schedule the lessons, manage groups, manage individual students, but my favorite feature here is creating my own interactive worksheets. It's really easy to do, it looks really neat, organized, and you can choose any activity, any type of activity that you can just imagine in teaching languages. For my lessons at Green Forest, I use these worksheets every single day, and I just can't imagine my life without them. As I said, it takes me around 5 minutes to create any type of task from the list. I even tried using these worksheets for my offline lessons, for Spanish classes, and it's so easy when I can just send them the link, the students open the link on their phone, and we can work at the same time online with this platform and offline with me and other students in the room. My Spanish students adore it because they no longer need this stack of paper copies that I prepared for them, and it saves me tons of preparation time. But another huge benefit is that this platform has already plenty of available ready-to-use worksheets and interactive textbooks for any level or any age, whether you're teaching adults or secondary school students. And the variety of these material is impressive. It definitely makes the lesson preparation quicker and easier. Just look how many engaging materials are already available. You're in for a treat. The next thing in my list is PowerPoint presentation that I specially designed for mistakes. I use it to give feedback to mistakes to my students every single lesson, and it has several sections on each slide where I just indicate a sentence with a mistake, and I save my teaching talking time because my students already know what they need to do. Either add something, rewrite something, change something, or pronounce something correctly. I have several versions of this presentation, but most of the time I stick to this first slide layout. Unfortunately, I don't have a chance to use this presentation for my offline classes, so I use marker or chalk, depending on the room I'm in. Next essential things are 4 platforms that I use most of the time. It's Mentimeter, that could be great for creating word clouds or some polls and brainstorming sessions. When my students need to come up with something and then save it in one space, I use these layout on the Mentimeter. Then, as I said, word cloud is also a cool thing if you need some catchy lead-in or quiz. Then, the next one is my favorite randomizer, Wheel of Names, that I can use both online and offline. It can just add some fun and unexpected twist in discussion while my students try to activate new vocabulary and grammar. Next up is Learning Apps. It's a lovely website because it doesn't have all these excessive decoration, and I use here 2 types of tasks, sorting and creating crosswords. It's really easy and really neat. And the last thing, my ultimate time saver, it's Google Forms. I use them to create tests for my offline teaching. I just indicate the correct answers once and it automatically grades everything and shows me the results and give the mark immediately. I just can't imagine how people manage without it. It's a wonderful tool. But hey, not everything that I use for my teaching is online. No, I can't imagine my life without this and this thing. So surely the speaker is a must when I work at the university and I need to have a listening activity with my students. Unfortunately, sometimes I forget the speaker at home and then my students have hard times doing this listening activity. But I promise next semester I will always keep it in my bag and I'll never forget. Yeah. As for the watch, I need to keep track of my time to avoid wasting it during the lesson and stick to the lesson plan. Yes, we have chats with my students during the lesson when we can end up drifting a bit from the timing, but still, that helps a lot. And the last essential thing for my teaching is AI. I'm that type of teacher that is not worried about being replaced by artificial intelligence. I use it actively for creating content for my lessons. For example, I have an idea for the task, but creating the storyline, creating sentences, examples for this activity may be time consuming. Therefore, I can just ask artificial intelligence. I don't create the whole lesson plan using AI because I don't trust it and it's much faster and easier to do it myself. Therefore, AI is like on-the-spot content creator for me that still needs my guidance and a lot of proofreading. So, but technically this is it. 7 essential things that I use for my effective and stress-free teaching. So, of course, every subject that I teach requires a new tool, new material, but if I told you about each of them, this video would be 2 hours long. So far, 7 things are enough. Yes. But thank you a lot for watching this video. I hope you found it useful and interesting. And as I said, more behind-the-scene content is coming your way, so stay tuned. I hope to return really, really soon.